All right. All right. So I believe we can start now. Hopefully, the rest are going to join us before we finish today's session. Good evening, good morning from every part of the world that you're joining us from. It's a pleasure to have us today. So today we're going to set ourselves up and do some walkthrough. But before that, I'd like to introduce myself so that you know the person behind this initiative, what I'm trying to do, right? So my name is Kazim Olanira, and I've been a cybersecurity instructor for 5 plus years. I train people both locally and internationally. I uh, I do cybersecurity training for Tech Prime and also Bititude. Those organizations, I consult for them and also do cybersecurity training for them. I was part of the lead instructor for the 3MTT cybersecurity program in Nigeria. And I also share my cybersecurity knowledge and experience on YouTube at my handle there. So, uh, again, I've taken a lot of certifications, the free ones, the paid ones, the beginner, the intermediate, and which is even the CC, the one why we're here today, the CC exam, and which is why I want to let you know about the opportunities that are there and how you can also leverage that. Uh, please let's try and mute our mic. Thank you. Can you please mute the mic so that we can have a one-way flow of information? Thank you. Right. So now a let's have a look at what we'll be doing for this the whole 5 days. So it's going to be a little bit intense. I'm going to try and push us a little bit. Though later I'm going to tell us about the benefits of this training, the benefit of the training, the benefit of the exam. Please, as you join, kindly mute your mic as you join. Thank you. So, going to tell us about the benefits. So, but today, day one, um, I introduce myself and I'm also going to tell you about the course. Then I'll tell you the benefits of the CC exam and how you can register. Today, we all will try and register for the exam today. Like I've said, the exam is free. See, ISC2, I'll talk about that later. They're trying to give 1 million uh, uh, of the exam voucher for free, about 1 million for free. So then today we'll walk through domain one and I'll give us some tasks to do ahead of day two. So day two, we're going to review. I'm going to share like 3 questions from day two that we're going to review together, right? So that you understand the nature of the exam, right? What they're trying to test you about. Then day two, we're also going to walk through day two and three together, right? I know we all have this timetable. I'm just trying to, walk us through it so that you know what is ahead of us, right? My goal is after this 5 day training, that you guys take additional 1 week or 2 weeks for self-study, 1 week or max 2 weeks, then go and write the exam. And I want you to pass. And you await any opportunities that will now come after that. So day three, we'll be reviewing 3 questions from day two and three, and day three we'll walk through day four. So we'll be doing it that way, right? Day four, we'll review 3 questions from domain four, and we'll also do a walkthrough of domain 5. Then the fifth day, we're going to review 3 questions from domain 5. I will share 100 practice questions, proven, tested, and proven practice questions to pass this exam. 100. That one is for free. Then the other one from Udemy, I'll do like a competition, right? I only have one access to that. So the person who wins will get that one. That one consists of, I think, is more than 500 questions with explanations, right? Then we'll do conclusion and appreciation, and after that, I want you to really own this thing because I want you all to share your success stories on the WhatsApp, on the Telegram that you've passed, and so on and so forth. So, but how you pass, what you need to do is why we're here, right? So now, what is the benefit of this exam, this ISC2 exam? But before we talk about the benefit, what is the ISC2 CC exam? So it is called Certified in Cybersecurity Certification. Now, ISC2 is an international body. It is called International Information System Security Certification Consortium. In short, ISC2. So they are the one who organize and maintain this particular certification. And if you are in the cybersecurity world, you know that they are also the one who develop and maintain the CISSP exam. That is the like the gold standard of certification in cybersecurity, right? So this exam, this one we are preparing for today's, it allow you to uh, prove to employers that you have the foundational knowledge or skills and abilities for you to work as an entry level or a junior cybersecurity analyst, right? And if you ask me, what are the benefits? There are a lot of benefits that comes with you passing this certification, right? So one of them is that it's going to give you an exposure, right? Writing an international exam, and you're going to be part of this organization because once you pass this exam, you'll be a member of the organization ISC2. Like for me, the benefits I get personally is I get to attend webinars, the virtual ones, and even at times the physical ones. I get to also have an international certification on my resume that employers or people will know that, oh, I did not only study cybersecurity, I also have international certification to back it up, right? And also it helps me in my job. I have worked before as a software developer, so meaning it helps me once I'm writing code, I'm thinking about how I'm writing secure code, not just codes, but codes that is secure, right? So whatever field you find yourself, whether you're working as a network engineer, you need to protect the network, right? Whether you're working as let's say a school teacher, also you need to teach, you need to also be wary about privacy, what information your students will put out there, and some of all these things, right? So this CC exam has a lot of benefit. One of the benefit also it helped me is that when I took this exam, though before taking this exam, I have taken a lot of certification exams, right? But but I've never at that time, I'm, I've never taken any ISC2 exam. So I use this just to understand the way the questions are being structured. And one of the benefit it gave me instantly when I passed and I shared with my employer is that they try to build a department around it that, oh, Kazim is becoming an expert in security, right? So which is something to show them. I know some of us that you've been trying to get your hands into cybersecurity is either maybe you've been learning on Coursera or or the free code camp or any other free resources. But you see, you have the skills abilities, but you need like a stamp, right? An international certification to show that, oh, I have this skill. So what the exam is going to test you on the foundation, that's what we want to do in these 5 days. Then how you're going to pass the exam. But you need to know that this exam is in 5 domains. You're going to be tested in 5 domains. One is the security principles, meaning you need to know about basic information security. And let me also add, to take this course or to take this exam, you don't need any experience in cybersecurity. So it is designed for entry level people who are new to cybersecurity. So you don't need to have prior experience. In fact, you may be coming from another field. Let's say you are not working in IT, or you do not study cybersecurity, or you do not study IT. Whether you're a school teacher, whether you're a banker, whether you're coming from, is fine. So you can. So which means this exam, like if someone asks me that, oh, I want to venture into cybersecurity, right? What is the path for me? This is the path that I can recommend to people at first because one, it is not too technical, right? Two, it gives you the solid foundation that every other thing that will build on in cybersecurity. And you should know what that means. Once you have a solid grasp of a particular topic. So you'll be tested on security principles. You also be tested on business continuity, disaster recovery, and incident response. This is about helping your organization to withstand risk. Risk, risk is anything. Risk is anything that can, impact the organization, that can make them lose their data, that can make their system to crash, that can make their operations not to function. So you want to, as a professional, you will be helping them to get back from any damage or anything that can disturb their operations. Also, you'll be tested on access control. Access control means that, oh, who have access? Who can access this resource? Who can gain access to this website? Please, let's mute our mic so that we can all enjoy the training. And of course, if you have anything, you can always use the chat. Let's say you want to say something, you want to ask a question, or you want to request for anything. But please, let's try and mute our mic. Thank you. So, access control, you'll be tested on access control. How do you authenticate people? It could be physical access control, it could be logical access control. Okay, somebody wants to gain access to an office that you store secret files. Okay, you need to be able to control who can gain access and who should not be allowed to gain access. So you'll be tested on that. Then you also be tested on network security. You see, you agree with me that nowadays, with the widespread use of computers and internet, like networks are in various forms. In fact, the way you're joining, some people are joining this training, this webinar, maybe through a hub or internet modem or Starlink there with your computer or with your phone. That is a small network on its own. Are you aware that attackers could gain access into what you're doing and gain access into your PC? So you need to be able to secure your network. So this exam is going to also give you a visibility and test you on how familiar you are with network security. You also be tested on security operations, right? How you structure security in a typical organization, right? What are the day-to-day things to do? So those are the 5 domains, right, that you'll be tested on. And you remember I said that it's you don't need any experience to take this exam, right? Now, for the exam, this is the structure of the exam. This is the structure of the exams. Now, I'm just giving you this heads up so that all what we do in the 5 days, because we have a goal. Our goal in this training is for us, one, we have 2 goals. One, to walk through the basic foundation of cybersecurity with us. That's the first goal. The second goal is to help us to pass this exam. So at the end of the day, I'm hoping some of you will use the certificate to gain a new job. Some of you will use the certificate to gain promotion in your job. Some of you will use the certificate to write higher certifications, because cybersecurity is certification loaded, right? So you can take higher certification. I will talk about that later. But once you have the foundation, you can take higher ones, or you can, move into higher department in your organization and so on and so forth. So the exam is 2 hours. Let's say you are ready to take the exam. The exam is 2 hours, and the number of questions, they are 100. Though ISC2, they will be reviewing this exam by October later this year. They'll be reviewing it, meaning they'll be using what we call a CAT. That's computer adaptive test. Meaning, when you're taking the test, when you're taking the exam, you might not get to 100 questions before it will tell you have passed or failed. So meaning the computer is just like an AI. Let me say AI. The computer is going to adapt to how you are answering those questions and will determine whether you need to get to 100 questions to pass or fail. So, but that is coming up later this year. But for now, the questions are 100. If you take the exam between now and October or later this year, the questions are 100. You have to answer them in 2 hours, and they are multiple choice, right? So it's not like all those higher exams that you'll be configuring systems. This one is multiple choice. Then the passing score is 700. You need to get 700 out of 1,000 points, right? You need to score, once you score 700 and above, then you pass. So the exam is also currently administered in English, Chinese, Japanese. Of course, English will work with most of us, right? Now, if you're familiar with taking international exam, you know that there are some exams you can take from your house. just with your laptop and a computer. You can take it in your house. But ISC2 exams, because of you know, the their reputation. In fact, I didn't mention to you guys that ISC2 exams, uh, they are accredited by ANSI. ANSI is American National Standard for Information, something like that. ANSI and ANAB. That's why when you get a certificate, you will see the stamp there, accredited by ANAB and ANSI. So, meaning before you take this exam, you have to go through some checks. They want to see physically, they take your thumbprint and everything to be sure you are the one. That means you'll be taking this exam in a Pearson VUE testing center. So once I will show you later where you can choose what once you're going through the registration and you're getting to booking the exam, you'll see where you have to choose a center near to you. There will be options given to you based on the location you say you are, right? You will see cities where they have a Pearson VU center that you can go and take the exam. If you're lucky, if one is in your city, that's fine. If it's not, maybe in a city closer to you or in a state closer to you, right? Now, moving back to the exam structure. So 26% of the domain will come from, of the questions you see in the exam, 26% will come from security principles. 10% will come from business continuity and disaster recovery and incident response. Then 22% is going to come from access control concepts. Then 24% will come from network security, and 10% will come from security operations. So that's about ISC2, the benefits, and also the structure of the exam. But before we go into the walkthrough of Domain 1, I would like to show you guys how to now register for the exam. And I want you guys to also go ahead and register now. So I'll have to share my screen for that. So I also try and drop the link in the chat for us here as well. Drop the link for us. So if you go to, okay, I think I have to share this screen so that you see what I'm typing. So I want us to register for, because the reason I want us to do the registration now is because you have access to the reading resources that contain domain 1, domain 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's what we will be using for these 5 days. So that I will say, go to domain 1, so that when we are answering questions from domain 1 tomorrow, you yourself, you have gone through the domain 1. So that's one of the reasons why I want us to, do this. So let me share the screen so that you see what I'm typing. Right. So if you go to https :/. Don't worry, I'll drop this link in the chat now once I'm done typing it. isc2.org/landing/1 million cc. So once they get to 1 million, they will stop giving this exam for free. You have to pay. But for now, they're trying to give 1 million vouchers. I think they started 2 years ago, if I'm correct. So now, so let me try and drop the link for us in this chat in case you want to also do the registration right away. It's free, right? Ahead. That's another thing I did not mention. The exam is free. So you're not paying ₦1 to go and take the exam. So if you check the chat of this meeting, of this Google Meet, you will see the link. I've dropped the link there for us. You can copy it. So this is the free entry-level cybersecurity training. So once you do the registration, you gain access to the training resources, which is what I'm also using for this 5-day training. You get access to the resources, then you can become an ISC2 candidate, right? Then you can book your exam anytime you're ready to book the exam before you go and take the exam as well, right? So now, if you look at this page, if you scroll down, you'll see that they say ISC2 pledges 1 million free CC exam, blah, blah, blah. Then you can create, I'm assuming you don't have an account here, so you can just go to create an account. So once we create an account with them, so let's wait for it to load. But why is loading? So but for me, so you have to create an account with them. For me, I have an account with ISC2 anyway. But for you, you have to create an account. Once you create an account, then you log in. Then the next thing is to access the application form, right? I think for me to access the application form, I have to log in as well. So hold on, let me log in so that I can show you the application form. Now, if you listen to what I said earlier, I said the exam is free, right? So to take the exam is free, but once you pass, you get your results. So if you pass, you get your exam result. It's usually printed and you'll be given. But the certificate, to get the certificate, ISC2 wants you to pay $50 to get the certificate. But you see, getting certificate is not my own goal. My own goal is for you to be able to take an international exam and pass. If you don't want to collect the certificate, it's fine. Let's say you say you don't want to pay the $50, you just want the result, it's fine. At least you've not taken an international exam, you have the CC, you can share the result with your employee. But if you get certificate, all good. You have access to the portal where you can, become the member, full-time member. But if you don't want to do that, that's fine. That's up to you. The decision is up to you. So I want to use another browser because I have my login details on another browser. I don't want to start typing it afresh. So I will share the window now. Yeah, so I should do this one. Right. So I think this is the one I can use because I have my login details here. So once you create an account, the second step is for you to fill the application form here. Right. So let's wait for that. Right. So you see, I don't have to type my login details again. I have it on this browser. So I'll just sign in. But for you, you have to create an account first before you go to the application.
Sorry, sir, I can't see your screen. Oh.
Okay. Can is it the same for
Yes,
everyone?
Yeah,
it's
it's
visible
visible.
now.
The screen is visible.
It's
It's
visible,
visible
right?
now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So now, so you see, for me, for me, I am already a member, right? So if you see my dashboard here, look at I'm already a member. So that's why I can't be eligible for this, right? I can't fill that form again. But for you, you'll be able to fill that form. So if you're following what I'm doing, right, just go to that link so that if you have any issue while I'm delivering the rest of the training, if you're having any issue, you can call my attention or if anything that is not clear that you don't know how to go about it, right? But for me, I already have an account. I'm already a member, right? I've already taken the exam. That's why that when I click the application, it's saying I can't take this again, right? So, but for you, if you try it now as I'm speaking, if you check the chat of this uh, Google Meet, the link is there. Just click that link. It will take you. It will open it in browser for you. You can do it on your mobile device as well. You can do it on your laptop. You can do it on your phone. So just click the link. Click create account. Of course, they will ask for name, email, what have you. Once you created the account, then go back to that. Come and click this link again, or you go back, then press create application. So it will ask you for details, right? And so you see the details there. Then you fill all those details, and you become an ISC2 candidate automatically. So then you can go ahead and book the exam, right? So if you want to book the exam, it will take you to a Pearson VUE website, right? This is not
Sorry
hard.
to keep this. Your screen is not visible again.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
it's
stopped
visible now.
sharing. Now I stopped sharing,
Okay, okay,
right?
okay.
I've stopped sharing. So the steps are not hard. What is the first thing? Click the link I drop here. Go and create account. It will ask you for your name, email, all those things they ask when you want to create account. Then once you are done, click this link again or you go back, then go and fill the application form. Application form to take the exam for free. So once you click the application form, right, it asks you for all those details again. Then it takes you to, then the third step, it takes you to the PSV where you book the exam. You can book the exam right now or today, but you are the one that will choose. It's not a must that when you book the exam now, they will say, come and write it tomorrow. So you can book it and say in 3 months' time, you want to take the exam. You can say in 4 months. You can say in 5 months. But the essence of this training is for you to take the exam in the next 1 week or 2 weeks, right? That's the goal. So if you can book it and say you're taking it the next 2 weeks, it's fine. So just choose the calendar there. And all what I've said now, you can leave it till after today and do it. If you know you don't want to do it while I'm speaking like this. And if you have any questions, anything that is not clear, the WhatsApp is there, the Telegram is there where you can ask questions, right? I believe we are okay with this. So you can do it right now, or you can leave it till after the class to do the registration, right? So once you're done with it, because we have 1 hour, we have to maximize our time, 1 hour for every day from now to Friday, 1 hour. So, but just make sure that you do the registration today, right? Book the exam if need be. Our advice, again, for the sake of those joining, the goal of this 5 day training is to expose us to the basic, the foundation, the fundamental of cybersecurity. Second, our second goal is to make us go and pass this exam. So that's the two goal I have, right? So, and I said to go and pass the exam, I want you to actively participate in this 5 day training and go and take the exam in the next 1 week or 2 weeks. The exam is not that hard if you put in the effort, the time. Though it is hard if you don't put in the time and effort, right? Just for example, if you don't read something and go and write the exam, you're not putting effort. But if you read it or you follow what we're doing here, right? You follow what I'm doing here, and you just can't through. And the essence why I want to give you 100 past questions for free, so that you see the nature of the exam. You go through the 100 questions and see the way they say the exam, see the questions and answer. I'm not guaranteeing that all the questions will come from that 100, but at least you have an idea of the way to answer those questions, right? I believe we are okay with that, right? So again, one more time, one more time, uh, take your time. You can fill the form right now, or you wait till after the class and go and do that, right?
Sorry, I'm saying um Mali State is not bringing an option.
Have you selected country? You have to select country before
Yes,
state.
yes, yes, yes.
But is it required? Is it when you want to submit the form? Does it not allow you to submit the form?
No, I've not submitted the form. Yes,
Yeah, just
still trying to fill up the form.
just keep that and continue, right?
Okay,
Just keep
okay.
that and continue. When you get to Pearson VU website, then you'll be able to select your state. You'll be able to choose where you want to write the exam. When you get to the third stage, which is Pearson VU website, so you can skip that one for now. Just fill the rest of the details and become an ISC2 candidate. Then you go and do the third one.
Sir, please, can you kindly share the link on Telegram or WhatsApp?
Okay, I'll do that, but that will be after the training because I'm trying to maximize
No
this 1 hour.
problem. I'll
Yeah.
let's just shoot it down then.
Yeah. And any other questions you have, let's engage on the WhatsApp, on the Telegram. You can ask the questions. You can share the screenshot of any. If you're lost, you don't know how to register, you can share that and we'll walk you through. So now let's now go to the main thing of today, which is to walk through domain one, right? And so the reason why I structured it is deliberate. I deliberately structure it like this, right? I'm walking through domain one, even though you don't have access to the material now. But once everything I say, once you yourself now go and after you fill the form and you fill the application form and you have access to the dashboard and they give you the resources, if you yourself now go back and now read domain one, you will see that it will not be, especially for those people who are new to cybersecurity, it will not be strange to you because I have talked about them. I have explained them to you here, right? So it's like 50-50. Let's read. We are reading together now. I'm doing my part now. Later in the day, do your part before tomorrow. Because by tomorrow, if you go back to the timetable, by tomorrow, we are going to answer 3 questions. It should be interactive. We're going to answer 3 questions from that domain one, right? When we are done, then we go to domain two. I will also allow you to read domain two that tomorrow. The third day, we'll answer questions from domain two. So we'll do it that way till domain five. And I'm sure if you follow this schedule, believe me, you with the past question I will share with you, if you go through it and you really dedicate your time and effort in this, you're going to pass the exam, right? And I can't wait. For me, let me tell you one other benefit that this exam did to be right. It makes me part of an organization which is the ISC2 we talked about, and that makes me for the first time to go and deliver training in DRC because someone who also is in that organization talked about an opportunity for someone to train their employees there. So I have to. So with this, so the network. That's why I said earlier that if you don't want to, but I would strongly advise you collect the certificate after you pass. But if you still want to collect, see, the opportunities are abound. People who know that, oh, you've taken this, you know this. So there are a lot of opportunities that are about to join this organization or passing the exam or having the certificate. So having said that, I will share my screen now. Then we walk through domain one. Right. I believe I'm on domain one now. That's correct. So if you remember, I said we have 5 domains, and first of the domains that the exam wants you to know and that the exam will test you on is security principles, right? I believe you can see my screen now. I'm sharing the slide from domain one now. All right. So now domain one will tell your understanding about security concept of information assurance. So you need to know what we call confidentiality. You need to know what we call integrity, availability, authentication, non-repudiation, and privacy. Now, you see, before I start reviewing this domain one or walking through domain one with you, let me tell you one thing. Everything we do in cybersecurity is centered around these three: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. It's either you are protecting the confidentiality of something, a data or information or a resource, or you're trying to guarantee the integrity of that resource, or you're trying to make the resources or information available as at when needed. So everything you learn in cybersecurity is on the we call it the CIA triad. And when you go back later to read out domain one, you understand what I'm saying better. So we call it the CIA triad. C for confidentiality, I for integrity, A for availability. So everything we do is around these three. Now, what is confidentiality? Confidentiality is just you making sure that a particular data or information is only visible, right? Or only accessible to the person who have authorization, the person who you want to know. For example, let's say you have a key. Let's say you live with your partner in your house, and there's a safe place where you keep the key, right? You don't want any other person to know where the key is. Only you and your partner only want to know. So that's, you're trying to keep the key confidential so that any third party will not know where the key is. So only both of you. So that's you're trying to guarantee the protect the confidentiality of that key. Then the integrity. Integrity means that you don't want people to change the data. You see, attackers, cyber criminals, they do this. They can get into your network, into your system, and change where there is A, they change it to B, right? To gain for whatever malicious reason. So you want to make sure that for example, let me use the example of the key. You want to make sure that the key, that somebody has not come and replace it with another key, right? You want to ensure that the integrity is intact. There's also availability. Availability means that anytime you go to where you and your partner keep the key, you want to meet it there. So the key is always available whenever you go there. So you also have to guarantee availability. Now let me put it in context for you. You remember I said everything we do in cybersecurity is around the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. You want to ensure that information you collect, let me use bank as an example this time. Information that banks collect about you, that no any other person have access to that information, so that they will not use that to trick you and hack you. Only you and the bank have access to that information. And also that information is correct, not that the phone number has been changed or something has been changed. The integrity is being maintained. And also is available. Anytime you want to access those data, is available for you. So the exam will test you on confidentiality, integrity, and availability. How do we protect confidentiality in cybersecurity? Majorly, we use encryption. We encrypt the data. Encryption is just that something that you wrote ABC you now change it to maybe XYZ, right? So that anybody that see, they will see XYZ, but the true text that is there is what? ABC, right? So what about integrity? What do we use to protect integrity? We also use what we call hashing. Hashing is HASHING. We hash it so that we can verify, we can know whenever someone has tampered or has modified that information. What do we use to guarantee availability of data? You use a lot of controls or tools. But one thing you can also use is to have a redundancy, right? A redundancy so that, for example, let's say the bank server now. Some of you are familiar with some banks that they will say there's no network or the server is down. So you want to ensure that if one server is down, another one will pick up, right? So you're trying to guarantee availability. If you have multiple servers giving same resource, so that if one server is down, another server is going to pick up, right? So that's that. Then the example is also going to let you understand what is called authentication. What is authentication? Authentication is just, if you go to Facebook and you want to access your account, you have to log in. They will ask you for your email and password, or they ask you for your phone number and password, or your PIN and password, whichever you've used. So that is trying to authenticate you. That's what we call authentication, meaning to verify that you are who you claim to be. If you say, my name is Kazim, and this is my email, this is my password, and you say this is my email, they'll ask you for the password to verify that you are truly Kazim before Facebook allow you to have access to the dashboard, right? So there are different methods that we use to authenticate. There are different authentication methods. We have something you know, something you are, and something you have, right? Something you know is like password. So when you go to your bank app, or you enter your PIN, or you go to your Facebook website and you enter your username and password, that is an example of something you know authentication. We also have another authentication called something you are. Something you are is maybe on your phone. If you use an iPhone or Samsung or any other phone, and before you open the phone, it asks for your thumbprint. Or some phone, they use your face to unlock, or your thumbprint. So that's an example of something you are, because it's using what we call biometric. Your face is a biometric data. Your thumbprint is also a biometric data. Some people also use voice to unlock. So that's an example of something you are. Example of something you have, the third one now, something you have, HAVE. Something you have authentication is, example is smart card. I don't know if you've been to some organizations or some corporations or offices where before you enter, you have to remove your card and swipe. Or another example is with some hotels, right? To access the door, you use a key card that you just swipe or you place at the door and it's open. So that is something you have. If you don't have that card, you can't gain access into the room or into the office or into the complex. So those are the three authentication methods. Again, they are something you are, something you have, and something you know, right? Something you know, something you have, something you have. Now, talking about, they are all factors of authentication. These three I mentioned, they are all factors of authentication, right? But it is not secure if you use one of them. You have to use combination of them for you to have a secure system, which is what we call multi-factor authentication, MFA. If you look at inside the brackets on authentication that you see there, the MFA, multi-factor authentication. What is MFA? MFA is when you use two or more of those three factors I mentioned. You use either something you know and something you have, or the three of them, or you use something you know and something you are. So when you combine them, let me give you an example. Some people, if they activate 2FA, 2FA is a kind of MFA. Two-factor authentication is a kind of MFA. If you've activated 2FA on your Facebook account, right, and you want to log in, it asks you for your email or phone number, then your password. So when you log in, then it sends a code to your SMS or to your line as SMS. So that code, you enter it to complete the login process, the authentication process. So you see, that's using two-factor authentication. Let's dissect it. Entering your email and password is the first factor, which is something you know because you know the password. You have to know the password to be able to enter the correct password. That is something you know. Now, sending the code to your SMS, that is something you have. If you don't have your phone where the SIM card is, you can't log in, you know. And you know, SIM card can only be slotted in a phone for you to access the messages. So that's something. So that's two-factor authentication, or by extension, we call it MFA, right? Also, the exam will test you on what we call non-repudiation. What do you mean by non-repudiation? Non-repudiation is the opposite of repudiation. You see, I can send you a message now, and tomorrow I said, no, I wasn't the one who sent the message, meaning I'm denying sending a message. So non-repudiation is being able not to deny taking an action or doing something. Why is this important? Because some people can do a malicious activity. Maybe they send you a malware to your system, let's say in your organization, and they are doing investigation. The person will say, oh, I'm not the one who did it. But if you have digital signature, so digital signature is what we use for non-repudiation, is one of the things we use. So if your digital signature is on that code or on that file or on whatever, so you can't deny. Just like if I send you a letter, if I write a letter to you, and at the end of the letter I sign it with my name, I append my signature there. You know, I can't deny that I'm the one who wrote that letter. But if I wrote a letter to you, right, and I did not sign there, and I send it the letter, you know, if you find it offensive, I can deny that, oh, I wasn't the one who wrote the letter, right? But if my signature is there, I cannot repudiate, right? I cannot repudiate. So that's not repudiation. Then the exam will also expose you. If you go through the material after you do the registration later today, all these things will now make sense to you, right? So privacy, the exam will also want to test on privacy. Privacy just means that an individual or an organization being able to control their information. For some people the privacy attitude on social media is so poor. They share everything and everything, even their vacation location, they share it on social media. So, but if you're able to control what you share, what you collect, how they use your data, do you know that you have that right? If you go to Facebook privacy policy, you have the right to control what Facebook can display to public, what information they can keep, how long they can keep it. You even have a right to ask them to delete certain information about you. So that's what privacy is about. Being able to control the use, the sharing, the collection, the deletion of your information. So the exam also wants to test you that you understand what privacy is, right? Moving on, moving on, you also have to understand risk management. You know, I talked about risk earlier. What is risk? Risk is anything that can affect the CIA. You know, we talked about CIA earlier, the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Anything that can impact the confidentiality, the integrity, and availability of data is what we call CIA. And you need to know this. You cannot say you have zero risk. Nobody can have zero risk because as long as you are exposed to so many things, multi systems, multi networks, there will always be risk. But your goal as a security professional is to minimize the risk, right? Minimize the risk. That is why you need to have what we call risk priorities. You need to prioritize your risks. It's not all risk that you can deal with. You need to be able to prioritize which one will cost us more, which one will affect the company more, which one will affect me more. You need to do prioritization. After you prioritize, then you cannot decide what action to take. The action to take depend on your risk tolerance. Now, there are four main risks control that you can take. You can either accept a risk that, oh, let's say after your evaluation, you find out this risk cannot do me any harm or cannot affect the organization. So you can accept the risk, right? You let it happen because it will not do much. Or you can transfer the risk. If you say, oh, the risk is so high, I don't have resources to deal with it, then I'm giving another person. Another person could be, it could be the what you call this insurance company. An example of risk transfer is insurance. You give it to insurance to deal with. Or you can mitigate the risk. Mitigate means that you are dealing with the risk yourself, right? You put things in place. For example, let's say you collect a flash drive from someone and you don't know whether there's malware there, but you want to mitigate the risk. You install a strong antivirus on your system so that you mitigate the risks, right? A strong antivirus. That's mitigation. Or the fourth one, you can decide to say you want to avoid the risk. Avoid the risk means that, oh, there is risk here. Let's not go this way because we don't want to deal with this risk. You avoid it. You don't do that thing. So that's risk avoidance, right? So will you know the amount of risk? Of course, first, you have to identify the risk, then you assess it based on the value of what you're trying to protect. You see, the value of data or resources you're trying to protect will determine the amount of risk you can also take and how you can also take it serious. So the example also tells you on security control. There are different kind of control you can use to reduce risk. You can use the technical control, administrative control, physical control. Example of a technical control is to have, let me use an example that everyone will be familiar with. Let's say you use a firewall, to block any outsider from coming to your network, or you use an antivirus. Antivirus also will be a technical control, right? An administrative control is policy from organization. Let's say some companies, they say if you are entering the company, you have to wear an ID card, your badge. So that's example of an admin control. Anything from policy coming from management, they are administrative control. We also have physical control. Physical control could be you using a turnstile. I hope we know what a turnstile is. If you go to banks or some organization, you press a button, something open, then you go inside. So sorry, that's a man trap. A man trap. You press the button, you go inside, and after they scan you, the other door open at the front, then you go into the bank. If you understand that kind of door, so that's the kind of physical control. Or a fence. A fence could also be a physical control. So those controls are just in place to reduce risk, right? To try and prevent anything from affecting the CIA. Now, before I go to the ethics, let me just talk about governance processes. So you need to be aware of policies, procedures, standards, regulations, and law. So what is a policy? A policy is just a directive from, let's say you work in a company and there will be management and they say, oh, everybody coming to the building must wear an ID card badge. So that's a policy. Or they say everybody must use at least 15 letters for their password. So that's a password, a policy. What are procedures? Procedures are step-by-step instruction on how to do something. Let's say you give a procedure on how to remove virus from your system. Let's say the first thing is separate the system from others so that it will not infect others. Second, understand the behavior so that you know what kind of virus it is. Third, install antivirus. The fourth, rescan again to see that the virus has gone away. Then the final, return back to the network. So that's the kind of procedure, a step-by-step way of doing a task or carrying out something. Then we have standard. What is standard? So standard are just you joining a body and say you want to follow their processes to deliver something. And we have a lot of standard. We have ISO, International Organization for Standardization, ISO, right, is a popular one. So those are standards. Organization conform to standards. Then we also have regulations and laws. Regulation just means that government, government, they have all their laws, all the rules. If your company or you reside in a particular location, there are rules that bound your operation. So that's for that. Then you also finally now, you also need to understand the ISC2 Professional Code of Conduct. I have seen some questions where they ask you about the Professional Code of Conduct, right? So let me end this by let me see. So I'm going to end that. Let me share the ISC2 Code of Conduct for you. So if you go to HTTPS, I'll also drop this link as well for us. If you go to isc2.org/ethics. So all this thing I'm saying, once you register, you'll find them there. You'll find everything there. Right. So these are the ISC2 code of conduct. Let me share that screen for us here. Yeah, so this is ISC2 code of conduct. So the reason why I'm doing all this is when you now go and read the material yourself, you find it as a smooth ride. So ISC2 have 4 code of ethics. Number 1 you see here is once you join ISC2, you become a member, you pass the exam. So because it's a very respected uh, certification body all over the world, right? So you have to protect the society, the common good, necessary public trust and confidence, and the infrastructure. That's the first canon. We call it canon. The second canon is that you have to act honorably, honestly, justly, responsibly, and legally. Then the third canon is you have to provide diligent and competent service to your principal, to your organization, if you work in an organization, to your organization. Then lastly, you have to advance and protect the profession, right? Part of what I'm doing is advancing and protecting the profession, advancing the profession majorly. So these are just a sneak peek of what domain 1 is all about, right? Just a summary of, in fact, what I've talked about is the summary of domain 1 from top to bottom. Now, I've done my part. Your part now is after this class to register, to sign up, register, so that you have access. If not booking the exam, at least to have access to the resources, the material. The material contains domain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't read domain 2, 3, 4, 5. Read domain 1 before tomorrow. Read domain 1. And you see, most of this thing I said here, you at least it will be flowing because you've heard them, you're not hearing them for the first time. It will stick more, I hope. So that by tomorrow, we are starting with questions. We'll start with 3 questions from this domain 1. So we're going to task ourselves. We'll ask questions. I'll display some questions on domain 1 and we answer before we now move to domain 2. Right. So again, if you have any challenge, anything with registering, we'll continue the conversation on WhatsApp, right? So thank you guys for joining today's class. See us tomorrow, same time. But don't forget, the assignment we have is register so that you have access to the resources, then read the domain 1, then tomorrow we'll continue from there. But if you have any challenge whatsoever, make use of the Telegram and the WhatsApp, right? So, and any other questions, let's have it in the WhatsApp and Telegram. So thank you for taking the time to also join this training. I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Thank you. So bye.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're all welcome.
That's it.